Welcome to the Intoxication Station. I'm Raymond, our social media manager. She's the one that handles all the social media postings. Huge improvement to the social media side of things. If you guys haven't followed us by now, please consider the link down below to all of our social media outlets and possibly merchandise as well, too. Now, the place that we're reviewing today is Sharky's on the Pier over in Venice Beach, Florida. Now, Haley, you have a little bit of history with the place.
Oh, yeah,
You want to explain to the people?
absolutely. So when Ray brought up the idea to go to the Cultural Coast down, we went to Fort Myers, we went to Sarasota, we went to Tampa. I immediately said, if we're going to be in the Venice area, we have to go to Sharky's because I grew up every spring break going down to Venice. My grandparents had a condo in Venice. And so every year we would go. That's how my family would spend spring break. We'd go to Venice, we'd hang out with my grandparents, we would go to Venice Beach, we'd go to Siesta Key, we'd go to Sarasota Beach, and at least once a week during spring break, we would go to Sharky's at the pier. It was a tradition. It was our favorite place to go for dinner, and it's kind of an institution down there. It's right on Venice Beach Pier. It's a big restaurant, kind of your basic tourist restaurant where, you can get seafood, you get drinks, there's always a live band on the weekends, but it's right on the beach, right on the pier, and it's always hopping. You can get the t-shirts, you can get the fun plastic cups, but it's kind of an institution in that way. So we would go every year, and I have so many fun memories of going there. I remember going, and I think I had my first oysters there with my grandfather. My grandfather, who has passed on at this point, but he loved oysters, and no one else in my family liked them. So he would always get them, but he and I was always an adventurous eater, and so he had me try my first oysters at Sharky's, and I fell in love with them, and now I get oysters all the time. So I remember going out on the patio as a kid and dancing to whatever band was playing, and we would just, it was fun. We would walk on the pier at night and dance and just dance. I think my grandfather took me fishing there a couple times. A lot of people fish off the pier. It's really high, and so there's always guys fishing, hanging off the edge, and there was always pelicans flying around. During the day we would go and walk the beach down. The sands are beautiful in Venice. They're that white sparkly sand that's really soft. So I have a lot of memories in Venice growing up in that area. So it was really, really important. I hadn't been back in like a decade at least. If not 15 years since we'd been to Venice. So when Ray told me that we were going to that area, I was like, we have to go to Sharky's. It was so important. And this last year, after Helena and Milton hit, the hurricanes that hit last year, Sharky's had been really, they had gotten hit really hard. The pier had gotten devastated, so they're still rebuilding. You can go almost out to the end now, and we walked the pier. The very end of the pier, it's straight, and then at the end there's a T. Almost all of the pier is rebuilt. They're still rebuilding the T. So when you get to the T, there's a fence. You can't go any further. You can't go to the very end of the dock. But we walked almost to the end, and it was a beautiful night. We watched the sun go down. And it was beautiful. It was such a good night. The waves were pretty calm. And then we went in and had our dinner. I think we ordered onion rings, and
So
they were so good.
as far as the food went, I, being the connoisseur of nachos I am,
Yeah.
decided to go with the seafood nachos that they had, and I was impressed.
Your nachos looked really good.
Oh yeah, the nachos were really good. Now, with that being said, Sharky's was the last place on that particular day of recording.
It was. We
And
planned it specifically for that night because I wanted to be there so that we could watch the sun go down.
well, being that was at the end of the day, we had been to 4 other places, making Sharky's the 5th place of the day. And well, it was at that point that I realized that there is a limit to the amount of places that you can go to in a single day.
We were tired. Yeah.
Tired, full,
A little drunk.
What? I did pretty well for myself overall. Even though I'm more of a volume drinker, I can pace myself out sometimes. And it was one of those it was one of those days that if we would have stopped at 4 places, that probably would have been the best thing to do. It was a great day of recording, very
It
productive
was a
day of recording.
marathon for sure. Also, this place was the last place of the day after we started with Yoder's for breakfast. Gives you any indication of what the day had been. If you listen to our Yoder's episode, that's where we started the day. So it had been a marathon.
A carb triathlon at that point. And yeah, definitely no regrets, if you
No,
will, on
it
any
was
of
a
the selections that
fantastic
we
day.
chose. Now, where you have history with Sharky's, that was my first time ever being to Venice Beach,
Mhm.
let alone to that restaurant. And as far as my take on it, whenever we walked up there, beautiful layout, pretty easy parking lot, even though it was a Saturday night at towards the tail end of the busy season from when we were there. Parking was relatively easy to find. You were greeted with this giant mural of a waterfall,
Mhm.
which we'll have photos going through and rolling in and out of here.
And that's new. That's new. So that's new after they rebuilt for after Milton. Used to, you would walk up to the restaurant and you would kind of go down a little bit, and there would be, if I remember correctly, there used to be, it was either a whale or I think it was actually a shark out in front. And there, because I remember I have pictures of when I was a kid, there was a big shark statue out front, and you would take pictures with the shark, and then you would go down, and the entrance was actually separate from, now you go into the pier entrance, but there was a separate entrance to the restaurant. You would go down and you would walk into the restaurant past the shark, and then you would go into the restaurant. But now you actually walk into the entrance. There's a sign for the pier, the Venice Beach Pier. You walk into the entrance to the pier, and then you go into the restaurant, and there's the mosaic and the waterfall restaurant. So that is really cool how they rebuilt after the hurricane.
Well, not only that, it did look like that not a strip mall. That's such the wrong word to say, but there were shops, not necessarily a
And
part
there's a gift
of
shop.
Sharky's. Yeah, so there is a gift shop there. There's also a couple carts there where they're selling trinkets and such, as one does at the beach. Well, upon arrival into the restaurant, one thing that I did notice is they had not only multi-tier seating, like there were 2 levels to the restaurant in itself, but they had indoor and outdoor for both upstairs and lower stairs, along with a dance floor area, which I thought that was pretty nifty.
It was huge.
God bless it, whoever was doing the karaoke. At least I hope it was karaoke, because I mean that was a bunch of cats screaming on stage.
No, sadly, we were not there on a good band night. That was actually the band that was playing. It was not karaoke. We were the whoever the band was not. It was not good. But back to the levels in the restaurant. So the indoor area that we saw is a very small compared to the rest of the restaurant. That is the original structure. And the back area where the band was also part of the original structure, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
The rest of it, like where we were sitting and the rest of the upstairs and all of that, like, and you can see in the pictures that I've already posted on Instagram and the pictures that we'll be posting through the podcast, the structure is huge now. It's Sharky's is massive. It was not that big when I was a kid. It had the small indoor area and the small patio. And I even talked to my sisters and my mom about it because I was like, was it this big when we were, 10, 15 years ago when we were there? It was not that big. My family was shocked when I showed them the pictures. It's probably doubled or tripled in size
Which
from
is
when I was
necessary.
young. It was huge. So when I say it's an institution in Venice, I'm not kidding, because it has grown exponentially from when I was a kid. So
Which
what
is
you
great.
saw was not what I remembered when I
Hmm.
was young. And so to see such a memorable place grow that much was so cool, especially when they've been damaged by, I don't know, 2 big hurricanes in the last year, and I don't know how many since I was young. But yeah, no, it was cool. But yeah, the band, we did not luck out on the band when we were there on Saturday.
That we did not. My
No,
God. So I can't say that all bands are going to be live performance by your favorite artist every
but
single
they're
time.
probably local. I
Eh,
mean, I
they
always love
def-
to see a local band, even if they're, mediocre.
which I enjoy a local band as well too. I'm sorry if it looks like I'm deviating off into a different section here. I'm currently editing and recording at the same time, separate episodes. But to go back on subject anyway, Sharky's goes. You did, if I remember correctly, you did have one of their signature cocktails there.
I did. I didn't write it down, so I don't remember what it was, but it was really, really good.
And I had one of my signature cocktails being Coors Light,
Of course, Light.
properly in a can. That was one of the photos that were posted to the social medias, and will be entered here. Nachos were absolutely fire.
They were good. Were they shrimp? I don't remember what kind of
Yeah,
nachos they
so
were.
the nachos that I did get were shrimp nachos, and if I remember correctly, you had the kingfish or
It was
swordfish.
my swordfish. It was swordfish because I can't resist swordfish on a menu. Just okay. I was a little disappointed. It was a little overcooked, so it was kind of tough. The flavor was good. It was blackened, so the seasoning was great. It was just a little overcooked for my
hmm
taste. Plus, we'd been eating all day, so I wasn't super hungry by that point.
Yeah,
But the onion rings that we had and your nachos were fantastic. I think I just ordered the wrong thing at that point, but I was in, like, memory heaven by then. I went there for the nostalgia feel more than the
hmm
food, so I was happy. The pictures you are gonna see, the lighting there was very red, so
very very red.
everything all the pictures we took are going to be very red, so don't judge me on the lighting for the social media posts that I post, but it was just very colorful lighting, so everything's just kind of red.
So, for those that haven't grown on coastal areas, especially within Florida, around that time of year, at time of recording, which was late September, is typically when all the sea turtle eggs hatch. So, with
Yeah,
all the red lighting, being that turtles being around for millions of years are
I didn't even think of that.
yeah, they're just so in tune with their natural selection, senses and whatnot. Whenever they're born at night, they gravitate towards the light of the moon. Well, with development along coastal areas of Florida, that has been one of the wildlife animals that have been impacted the most by over light population. So one way to counteract that is using red light, blue light,
Really.
or just having blackout sections along the coast. In doing so, they have a better fighting chance at being able to go to the ocean where they belong, and well, be able to have that fighting chance. 'Cause typically, when it comes to turtles, especially sea turtles, I'm not sure what the exact numbers are. I'm sure Google will have it, or I can add it in somewhere around here.
I would like
But
to know.
not a lot of sea turtles survive whenever they first hatch. Well over half of the litter that is hatched barely make it out to sea, and even less than them actually make it to adulthood or even pre-adolescency. Because they are a relatively easy food item for a lot of predators out there, being sharks, stingrays, seagulls. They become essentially the Snickers of the sea at that point. And yeah,
1 in
it's a sad
1,000
one
live.
in 1,000. So, in doing so, us as humans, even though we have ravaged some of their local habitat, it's the least that we can do to at least help them give that fighting chance to make it up to adulthood. Because turtles are one of those creatures that will outlast you significantly,
Oh, yeah.
especially animals like tortoises. Tortoises are almost like furniture. If you get a pet tortoise, say any of the
I'm
Galapagos
in your will
tortoises,
because you
yeah,
will need someone to take care of them after you die. Same
for
same with, like, macaws too.
yeah, they last forever as well too.
Cool that that's why it was red light. I didn't know that that's why the light was red.
Oh, yeah. And these are some things that you learn while living in Florida. That and growing up, they taught us to zigzag back and forth of an alligator's chasing you. Apparently, you're not supposed to do that anymore because it just antagonizes them even more. So, in recent years, y'all get is the
Yum.
terminology, the technical terminology by Stanford, anyways. Y'all get when it comes to alligators, which fortunately we didn't come across any because in that part of Florida, surprisingly enough, yeah, a couple wildlife facts in there. Surprisingly enough, Florida is home to not only the North American alligator, which is typically associated with the state of Florida, but we're also home to the North American crocodile in South Florida and a variant of caiman. All naturally exist in the state of Florida.
We learned how to deal with deer and Canadian geese.
Just we the deer down here. Canadian geese are protected. You shouldn't harm any of them.
We have laws what to do if you hit a Canadian geese on with your car. There are laws about what to do about that, but people don't listen.
Really?
Say Oh yeah, you need to turn them into the DNR.
Yeah, Indiana. So we have
I'm
something
from
like that.
Indiana. I'm from the country.
Yeah, so we have something like that, but for the sandhill cranes that are
But yeah,
very prolific in the state of Florida.
it's illegal to eat a sandhill crane.
It is. However,
We're
in the
getting
state of
into
Texas,
dangerous territory here. We have
however,
veered away from Sharkies.
so in all fairness, in the state of Texas, they do have a hunting season for them. You do with that information as you will. Anyways, getting back to
Lived
Sharkies.
in Texas for 2 years. I never saw a sandhill crane. So, but I lived in the city. I lived in Dallas.
Sharkies.
Speaking of Sharkies, Venice Beach is a really, really good place if you want to look for shark teeth, but do that during the day. Don't don't try to do that at night. But speaking at night at Sharkies, I did leave Ray on the shore, and it was a beautiful moon-filled night, and I had told Ray that no matter what we did on this Culture Coast tour, I was gonna put my feet in the ocean at Venice Beach because I had
Mhm.
to, right? It was too nostalgic not to do. So at this point, I was pretty buzzed. We'd been drinking all day. So I definitely left Ray on the shore. He didn't want to go with me for some reason. The no-see-ums. You didn't want to get bit by no-see-ums.
There were a lot of them.
Damn Florida people don't want to have fun. So I left Ray on the
I'm
on the
okay
beach.
with alligators. I'm okay with sharks. I'm okay with snakes. No seams is where I draw the line because
He
they
didn't want
attack
to have
you out of
fun.
nowhere.
Came back with some bites, but I was putting my feet in the ocean on Venice Beach. So I left him on the shore. But I
I
did,
don't
and
like
I went
sand
and
between my
frolicked in the
toes.
ocean. That's what the beach shower's for.
Yeah, but still don't. I don't like it.
So
Not a
there's
big
a
fan of it.
whole Zach Brown song about putting your sand between your toes.
Okay, so there is a difference between beach sand and lakeshore sand. Huge difference between the two.
Yeah,
And he's
and
also talking about
I would
Georgia as well too.
much rather have beach sand between my toes than lakeshore sand. I had to go frolic in my childhood beach, and it just so happened to be after dark. Do you know how much fun that was? I had water up to my belly button because the waves were high and the tide was coming in. I didn't give a I had so much fun. It was so like, I don't know, it was cathartic to go frolic in the waves at night as an adult where I had been as a kid. It was so much fun.
To
You got to
frolic
do that
in
sometimes.
general, to frolic in general
Frolicking
is
is
very
fun.
underrated. Is very much
Frolicking is
underrated.
fun. It is,
But
really. And you should have done it with me, Ray.
as stated before, it was a very long day. The fact that I made it that
It
far
was.
without passing out on my feet was a miracle in itself. That was a very, very long day.
I'm disappointed you didn't frolic with me.
Well, I mean, and even though being from Florida, multi-generational native to Orlando, I've just never been much of a beach person. Never been much of a theme park person. I prefer mountains.
Do
I
you see
prefer
my
lakes.
complexion? Do you see my complexion? Should not be I should not be a beach person, but damn it, I was gonna. Do you know how many times I turned red as a lobster on that Venice beach? Every time I was out there, I turned red as a lobster. I hated that beach as a kid because I got so much sunburn. But I had to go back. I had to go frolic on that beach. Plus, it was nighttime, but it was just really cathartic to be out there, and it was nice. It was
Yeah,
really, really.
the angry ball of fire in the sky wasn't trying to kill everybody.
It wasn't trying to kill me. It was really nice to be back in Venice. So I appreciated that part of our trip.
Yeah, which I appreciated the amount of time, effort, dedication, and all the planning that you did in for the Culture Coast trip in total. Because as far as I go, when it comes to all the planning and whatnot, very little, if any, effort comes from me. Because I'm a pretty easy guy to have fun with. Point me in the right direction, tell me to do things there, I'll do it. I'm not picky as far as the places go. And with one thing that Haley's done, along with all she's done for the channel as far as the social media goes, is you've been working on an ever growing list
Mm-hmm.
of places throughout the state of Florida to go to, which for those that may know, getting towards the end of the year at time of release, Haley is going to be leaving the state of Florida, moving back to her home state of Indiana, which we will miss her dearly on the channel as far as the involvement with all the places that we go to. But she still will be present along with the channel when it comes to the social media postings.
There will be some stuff in Indiana, so you're gonna have to follow along.
Mhm.
I'm trying to convince Ray to take this on the road and let me post in Indiana. So we'll see.
In due time. And one way to be able to make that happen is, once again, if you check out our links down below, we do have our Shopify store where we have all of our merchandise on there for hats, hoodies, t-shirts, what have you. And if you do find us in person at any of the locations, we do have our own merchandise that we carry exclusively in person. So with that, Haley, thank you so much again for taking time out of your day.
Love you guys.
I'm Raymond with Intoxication Station, and we'll catch you on the next one.